Rodco and I are here today to go over down stay. We want to remember the techniques, the helping techniques and the sequence we covered in our down video. And if you've already watched our sit stay video, we're going to apply the same concepts from that video to our down stay. So to quickly review our helping techniques, we have position, meaning our position as the handler in relation to our dog. It might make it easier or harder depending on if we're at their side or directly in front of them. We could also use a food lure. So the food lure for down goes from their nose straight down to the ground, and then you may want to think about moving it in or out from there. We've got a guide. Remember, the guide for down position is a gentle guide, possibly including a wiggle on your dog's shoulders, which is also called their withers. On these guides, don't slam your dog into position. We never want to do that. It's just a little bit of a guide. And then we've also got leash pressure, and remember, for leash pressure, we want to take out the slack and then push down, straight down along our dog's leg for leash pressure. So those are our helping techniques. Our sequence is the same as it's been in all of these other videos: command, mark, release, reinforce. If your dog needs help to get into the down position, it's going to come right after your command. So it would be command, helping technique, mark, release, reinforce. So don't give that help unless your dog needs it, because if you're giving help when your dog doesn't actually need it, it will quickly become part of the behavior and become difficult to phase out. So save help for when your dog needs it. Don't use it if your dog doesn't need help. The other things we want to think about for our down state are returning to our dog before we release them. So we want to get back to either their side or to directly in front of them before we release them. We want to make sure if they get up before we've said their release word that we tell them no, or whatever negative marker you're using, and we have them redo the behavior. So if they were on a down stay here and they walked over there, I'm going to go and get them. I'm going to bring them right back here and have them repeat the exercise. And then we also need to be aware of progression. We want to start small, start with something easy, and then build our dog's understanding progressively. So that could mean building distance away from them, a step or two at a time, building duration, a few seconds at a time, building proximity to a distraction, a couple of feet at a time. Build their understanding progressively. So just like with sit stay, we need to make sure we mark the primary, secondary behavior, which would be, primary would be sit, so we would mark that. Then we'd ask them to do their down. We're going to mark that too. Then we're going to mark them successfully completing the stay component. So there should be 3 markers in here along with that release word. I'm going to start with that down stay pivot just like we did with sit stay. So if you're still working on being able to do a down from your side, feel free to start from down in front and just pivot to their side. I'm going to start with sitting down at my side, pivot in front, and then back to their side. Free, Rodco. Okay, we're going to get on this sit at our side. Come here, guys. Which, that is not it. That would be a different command. So let's try that again. All right, here we go. Sit. Good boy. Down. Good. We'll pivot in front. Go back to the side. Mark it again. Good boy. Free. Okay, so just like with sit, come here. Good boy. Just like with sit, if the pivot goes well, that's your cue to add some distance. Rodco, here. And again, he's still getting used to his gentle leader. Okay, we got our sit, good boy, down. Good. Right, so he didn't go down right away. I followed through with that help to make sure he can follow through with the behavior. Now we'll do our stay component. Out to the end of our leash. Return to their side. Good. Free. Okay, so I had to give help that time, and that's absolutely fine. You still want to mark it, and then follow through with the rest of the behavior. So we got a successful pivot in. That means that I can add distance. So I went ahead and tried that. That went great too. Now I'm going to go into our third progression, which is going to be distractions. Again, I'm going to do our level 1 group class distractions that we use for testing purposes, which is clapping our hands and stomping our feet. At home, practice this distraction because it's a great one where you can control the enthusiasm and intensity of it, but also practice all different kinds of distractions like answering your door, maybe cooking dinner, doing laundry, dropping things on the floor, things like that. Practice so that when you do need your dog to perform their stay, they're going to be much more likely to be successful with it. All right, so we're already on a sit. We're going to go into our down. Rod Cub, down. And again, he needed help. That's okay. Good boy. We'll do our nose. Okay, so we're just going to restart here. Come on, bud. Right back to where we got up from. Good. Down. Good boy. Distractions. Good. Free. Good job. So you can see maybe there that he kind of thought about, getting up for a second, but then he kind of flinched and then he settled back onto the position. He did that all on his own. As the handler, I don't really need to do anything about that. I just need to make sure I reinforce that behavior, and what that does is it reinforces him making that good decision on his own. So we did pivot, we did distance, we did distraction. Those went pretty good. He's focused, he's engaged. Now I feel pretty comfortable trying one where I'm going to drop the leash. All right, we're already on a sit here, but I'm going to see if I can get him straightened out for the camera. Rod Cub. Okay, good. Down. Good boy. Okay, I'm going to drop the leash. We'll come out in front. Again, you could add distractions if you wanted to. Maybe pet one of your other dogs if you got multiple dogs. Then you're going to return to your dog's side. Go ahead and pick up your leash. Pause. Good boy. Free. So from there, those are kind of our basic progressions. And from there, it's just building up distance. It's building up more time. It's building up more distractions. So think about starting small, starting with something easy, and progressively building your dog's understanding. Follow through with your sequence and mark each individual component. When you release them, make sure they get up. So the best way to do that is to just move away from your dog. They should get up, come to you, and get their treat. Remember, getting up on the release is not optional. Your dog always needs to get up when you release them. Always return to your dog's side before you release them. Or if for some reason you can't get back to their side and get in good heel position, just go back to directly in front, release from directly in front of them. And then always remember, if your dog gets up before you've said your release word, you're going to tell them no. You're going to have them redo the same exact behavior. If they continue to make the same mistake, that's your cue as their handler to make an adjustment. So make things a little easier for 1 or 2 reps and then try that more difficult version of the behavior. All right, get practicing on this. Hopefully it helps you make some progress. Remember, break things down into pieces if you need to and be consistent. Thanks for joining us for today, and we'll see you next time.